Branden here. Time for more Branden's boy problems. So, I was looking forward to a very exciting vacation weekend, and it really just felt like a lot of that got thwarted by my pozphobia, and that was very unfortunate. First, I was in Philly, and I was like drunk and hung out with like a new acquaintance. I thought we were going like the friendship route, but then we did end up hooking up, and it was interesting. I just kind of feel like it's like on one hand I'm like, why did I hook up with my new potential friend? But on the other hand, it's like we kind of were like flirting and flirtatious with each other before we ever even met in person, because we had like a mutual friend, and like I guess we saw each other on Instagram or like each other's pics and stuff. But then like we met in person, and then like I didn't know what direction it was going in. Like, are we flirting? Are we just gonna be friends? And then we did end up hooking up. And I kind of feel like we probably would just be better as friends. But we were at like the bathhouse together because he'd never been to a bathhouse before, and I definitely wanted to be like introduce him to it. And then we were just like walking around doing stuff. It wasn't really that poppin'. I feel like bathhouses are kind of like on the decline now. It's like, I guess ever since COVID, and then with all the monkeypox out there too, I just feel like people are very like not into bathhouses anymore. Even though like pre-pandemic they were like really fun and like tons of people were going, but now people just really aren't going as much as they used to, unless it's like a big like special event gay weekend. But anyway, we were walking around the bathhouse, like we had been like fooling around, and like we tried having sex, but like that was not working because he only likes condoms, and like we were using like silicone lube, and I hate silicone lube. Like it just does not like, no, I like water-based. My asshole prefers water-based. Silicone lube is just feels very dry and very like rough and uncomfortable for me. And then silicone lube on top of using a condom, it just was not gonna happen. Like it was not working for me. So when we were like walking around, we go into the sauna, and there is like a decent looking black guy in there, but I honestly could just immediately tell like, I know he's pos. Like, I can just tell. Like, at this point, I've encountered so many pos people. Like, I can look at someone and tell they're pos. And ironically, he's from DC. And, like, after my trip to DC this weekend, I feel like DC is way worse than Atlanta, even though statistics say otherwise. But DC seems way more pos than I ever experienced in Atlanta. But maybe it's just DC guys actually know their status, and Atlanta guys don't. But I just feel like DC is very pos, and as someone that's not pos friendly, unless it's like a very, 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 very rare exception, and even that way, I've still never knowingly like did anal with someone that told me they were undetectable or pos. It's just not something I'm comfortable with. Regardless, I don't know. I guess the guy, my friend was like into the guy, but I was just really skeptical because I was like, yeah, I can tell he's pos. I don't want to hook up with him. But then, of course, my friend was into him, and then we ended up going to the guy's room, and then like we did start fooling around. Like the guy like pulls my head down to suck his dick, and I'm just kind of like, ugh. I never asked him his status. I felt awkward asking in front of like another person, even though it's like we all were about to do stuff together. But I just kind of felt like I don't want to like be like, oh no, you're pos, I don't want to hook up with you, and then storm out, and then for somebody else, like I just feel like I would rather that be like private. But then when my friend left to go get condoms, I did ask the guy's status, and of course he was pos because I could tell. And then I went out to like, I lied and said I had to go get poppers, because even though I came to the bathhouse with like nothing, but I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do anything without poppers. So I just left, nigga, never came back. And then I told my friend I was with, like, that guy's pos. He was like, oh no. And like, I felt like he was drunk, and like, I didn't know if that was like a deal breaker for him, because like, it's a deal breaker for me. But we just ended up hooking up, the two of us, in like the dark room, and like, I blew him, but I was just like, not into it. Like, and it's like, I've just had way too much time spent in my life, like my entire 20s, being scared of sex because I'm scared of HIV. I've been scared since I was a teenager of becoming part of that 50% black gay statistic of being HIV positive. I've just spent way too much time scared of sex and HIV to suddenly feel like, ooh, let me go knowingly hook up with people that have HIV, or even if they're undetectable, it's like, it doesn't matter to me. It's like, I'm on PrEP, I know I'm safe, I know I'm not gonna get it from you, but it's just kind of like, it's just like a turn off. It's just kind of like you made poor life choices and I am turned off by that. Like, I don't care if it's like I'm not at risk or like it's not that. And that people always want to say I'm ignorant and like don't know about stuff. And it's like, I already know all the statistics. I know the facts. I know maybe it's safer hooking up with someone that knows their status and doesn't. But I'm still like, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm on PrEP to protect myself from everyone, not so I can knowingly have sex with people that are pos. And then I went to DC and I felt like every guy I talked to was pos. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm over this. Like, I'm not having sex here. It just made me so turned off and so annoyed. And I'm just kind of like, why are so many Black gay men pos? Like, I mean, of course, it's like lack of education, resources, whatever. But I just feel like in my school district, they started teaching us about HIV and stuff in like 5th grade. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know how so many people, especially since like the biggest group of people becoming newly infected are like the 18 to 24-year-olds. I'm just kind of like, how did you go your whole life and not want to protect yourself? Like, how do you not love yourself enough that you're just out here busting it wide open and raw for a bunch of people that you don't even know their status and you're not on PrEP? Like, you're not doing anything to protect yourself. Like, it's crazy. And it's like, people love to say, like, are trying to say I'm a slut because it's like he doesn't love herself and like he has low self-esteem because he's a slut. But it's like, I clearly love myself. I've been protecting myself for years. I made sure not to have sex. Like, I care about my health, my status, my everything. Like, you could be a slut and still a safe slut. Like, I've had 2 STIs my entire life. Like, that I feel like is a good statistic with having sex with hundreds of men. Like, but people, it's just sad. Like, people are just really ignorant. Like, they're out here having raw sex and not safe. And it's like, I don't even care if your boyfriend gave it to you because I just feel like you shouldn't have trusted him either. Like, you didn't know men are liars and cheaters before you decided to be in a relationship with one. Like, I just don't understand that. Like, that is just so weird to me that people are just out here putting their life and their health in other people's hands and not protecting themselves. So yeah, it's just like that statistic that I heard like decades ago with the Black gay community is going to be 50% pos. It really just seems very accurate, and it does feel like I am sabotaging myself and potential chances with guys because I'm not poz-friendly. But on the other hand, it's just kind of like, is that something I need to settle for? Is that something I'm going to have to eventually just be like, well, everyone's pos, so if I want to be with a Black gay man, like, I just gotta accept that he's pos. But I'm just kind of like, that is such a turnoff to me. And then people will love to say, like, it's like diabetes or it's a manageable condition. I'm like, people didn't have unprotected sex with a stranger and get diabetes. So I'm just kind of like, to me, it's more equivalent to like a criminal conviction because I just feel like you made poor choices in the past and you have to permanently live that decision. But you can relatively live a normal life if you are successful and have a job, and you can still have a job and a fulfilling life despite your criminal record. And I kind of feel like that with HIV too. Like, you made a mistake in the past, but it is a permanent thing you have to live with. And it may not affect you every day, but it is still there and it is still a factor in your life and your future. So that's just how I feel, and I've been battling with this for like years, like feeling like, should I be poz-friendly? And I've always said no, and it's like, I don't feel like I have a reason to say no. Like, maybe I will meet a perfect guy and like fall in love with him, and then he's like HIV positive, but I also feel like as soon as I find out, oh, I'm not gonna be in love with him anymore. So it's just a difficult position to be in, and I just don't see myself being poz-friendly anytime soon. But thanks for joining me for this episode of Brandon's Boy Problems.